Hi there everyone. So my name's Diane and today I'm going to show you how to prune back your Weigela. And the first thing to do is decide what type of prune you want to do. So the first type of prune is just a basic keeping your Weigela in a nice shape kind of prune. So maybe you're comfortable with the height that it's grown, but it's getting a bit big and you want to just sort of neaten it up. So that's a light prune, and you would do that as soon as the shrub has finished flowering. So this has been covered in pink blossom all the way down to the bottom. It's been beautiful. There are still a few little fresh blooms there, but that's okay. Basically, it's what we gardeners say, oh, it's gone over, it's finished flowering, and that is very important because you do this light prune as soon as the plant has finished flowering. And the reason you do that is because a Weigela flower flowers on old wood. So any growth this plant makes this year will be the old wood next year. So a light prune is when you take, say, a branch like that and you cut it back to about, well, by about a third up to a half, I would say a third. So you would take it back to there and you reduce the sort of overall size of the shrub that way. I will show you how I'm going to do that. And then for the rest of this year, so rest of 2024, it will start putting out new growth. And the branch will grow again, not so big though. So by next spring, that new growth it's put out in 2024 will be the old growth, and that's where the flower will come on. So prune it now after it's flowered, and you'll get flowers next year and you'll have a much better shaped Weigela as well. But then you might have the situation I have with this Weigela. So I'm quite happy with the bushiness at the bottom, but he's far too tall. He's not in proportion to the border that he's in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top off. Actually, I only want to sort of leave him growing up to about there. That's what I'm going to do today. About 4 foot tall, 3-4 foot tall. And then I will start taking these long branches back by a third. Right, so this Weigela here is actually 2 Weigelas. So one has obviously self-seeded. I'll just show you in there. We go down to the bottom, so I've got big woody stems there. That's the biggest sort of mother plant there, and then I've got another Weigela growing here, and he's obviously been growing there for years, and until I created this woodland garden I didn't realize that he was 2, but he spans quite a big area. I'll come out here and I'll show you the sort of girth. So just before I get started, one very good tip I can give you. If whatever shrub you're thinking, oh, I want that huge shrub taken down, what I would say is stop and think, what is behind that shrub? What am I going to see from my house, from where I sit in the garden? What am I going to see once that shrub's gone? Because, you know, they're comparatively slow growing shrubs. I know you might not think that. They get to about 5 years old and then it's just whoomph, they take off. But if I chop him down to 3 foot tall, he's 12 foot at least at the moment. What am I going to see behind him? So I know, I've thought long and hard about this. I know I'm going to open up the woodland garden behind him and I'm going to see all my lovely plants. But I'll just give you a very good example of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so we're looking, so this is the aspect we have here. So there's my Weigela. So at the front of my house, I had 2 huge conifers here. I'll put a picture up of what they were like. One was shaped spiral, one was shaped like a lollipop. We had a massive storm, and this lollipop shaped one was leaning right over, so we had to take him down. And this buddleia wasn't here. He was dormant. He was really low down. And what shocked me was, once the tree came down, what I could see in the garden. This is a 1980s extension attached to a 100-year-old brick. There was a very visible divide there, which I hated. Hadn't noticed it before when it wasn't in my sort of line of vision, when it was obscured by the tree, but I couldn't stop looking at it once the tree was down. So I've had to put this trellis up here and plant a rose at the bottom and line the vertical slats up with the ugly join between the extension and the house. So yes, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'd hate you to put all that effort into taking a shrub down and then you haven't realized, oh my goodness, I can just see a really ugly fence or a wall, or maybe it's just people walking by. Your fence can now see straight into your garden. So think about those kind of things. Right, so I'm going to get my saw and my secateurs, and I'm going to start by just shearing the top off this Weigela. This is a really handy saw for getting in to the bigger branches. A pair of loppers would be even better. Long-handed sort of snips, really strong. And I can't find mine. I don't know where they've gone, but that would have been good. And then I'm just going to use secateurs for the smaller branches. Right, so here goes. Where do I want him down to? I want him down to about there. It's probably a good angle that you're watching from, because you'll see the overall effect. And what I'm expecting is that when I do take out this tall foliage here from the top, that I might have a bare patch in the middle, but we shall see. What I'll do is I'll make a few cuts, and then I'll take the camera and I'll show you in. Right, I'm going to try and angle the camera so you can see what I'm doing, because I'm making some decisions that I think you might be interested in. Right, so I've taken the camera off the tripod so I can show you the cuts that I'm making. You can see how dense it is in there. I'm really pleased that there is some foliage here, so I don't think it will be as bare as I was thinking it was going to be. So I've made two cuts so far, one there and one there. If you can see where I've made the cut there, I've got a long branch that comes all the way out here. And this is the branch that I'm going to reduce back by a third. So I would make your cut just above a branch coming off and then reduce the size of that branch down. I really could do with a camera person, couldn't I? Anywho, we'll work with what I've got. Right, so I'll just continue and get those big branches taken off. If you were doing just a general prune back, you would be looking for any branches that had no leaves on at all, that had actually died. So some people, when they're doing a lighter prune this time of year, they'll actually go down to the base of the plant, as well as taking these long branches back by a third. They'll go into the middle of the plant and they'll take out 1 in 3 of the oldest stems coming up. You can usually tell because they're thicker and a bit gnarlier. And you do that every year for 3 years, and then, you know, you've got basically a whole new plant there and everything's new. Right, I need my saw for that. So as long as you've thought everything through, you've thought of the consequences of taking the height of a shrub down drastically, then don't be scared. Just, you know, shrubs, once they're established, they're pretty hardy. Like I've said, you might lose flowers the following year if you prune it at the wrong time. But generally it'll grow back. Right, this is interesting. So this stem here is young and green. I'm going to bring the camera back in. So if you look at this branch here and I tap it, it's hard and woody. But if you look at this one here, which is going just straight up, that is soft and pliable, and that is called a sucker. And I don't know why plants throw those up, but anything that's going straight up like that, if you don't get rid of it, it will look like this. So this is my other Weigela, and this here has been a sucker that I haven't done anything about, and it's grown. It's eventually gone woody, but it's got no branches. It's got nothing pleasing aesthetically, and then a lot of leaf at the top. I don't think it's even flowered, that one. So that's why you want to get rid of any suckers like that. So now I've lost my secateurs. Oh, there they are. Right, so just so that I can see what I'm doing here, I'm going to get rid of that sucker. And I'm going to start pruning back these branches. So what I've decided with this branch here is these 2 branches, if I part them and get rid of them like that, right down at the bottom, this is still nice and green. So I'm going to get rid of these 2 big branches here and this one. That's a good test to do. Just part them like that, and that is still a nice shape. If you parted them and this was all bare, then I would say keep the branch and take it back by half to a third. But I'm going to get rid of that. And just go slowly. There is no rush. You know, if it takes you 2 or 3 days to get this done, better to go slow and keep standing back and having a look at the effect you're creating. So there, I've found some dead branches there. Take them off. And then step back. Yeah, I like that. But I don't like that stump sticking up there. This is the one that I said leave because the branches were coming out there. Now that I've taken those branches off, I'm left with the stump, so I want to get rid of that. You don't want anything unsightly left sticking out the top of your shrub. honestly, if you have shrubs to do, invest in a pair of loppers. It would be a lot easier than this. So I know I said to do this in June, but it doesn't make it easy for us, because usually, if you're like me, you've got lots of plants planted around the shrub, and really need one of those jetpacks so you can just levitate over the top without damaging anything. That would be good. I once watched a fascinating program on the Eden Project down on the south coast in the UK. Great big hot houses, and what the gardeners use to maintain the plants. They have like a little hot air balloon or helium balloon, whatever it is, and they sort of just rise up above the leaf canopy and do what they need to do. Sounds quite terrifying, actually, doesn't it? Yeah, there's quite a few dead twigs in the middle here. I'm amazed at how green it is in the middle, though. Right, I'm going to take those off. To put these stems back. Have a look at that. Oh, much better. Right, so the branch where he comes off the main stem, this main branch here, that branch is as long as my arm. So if you do it by eye, that means I'm snipping him back to about there. So that's how much I'm snipping off these branches. So what I'm doing is, say with this one, well, I'll show you what I'm not doing first, and then you'll see what I mean. So I'm not doing that. I'm not leaving a bit of woody stem sticking out. I'm taking it back to there, where the leaf comes out. I'll do another one on here. There we go. Take him back to there. So there we go. That's the prunings. And I must say I'm delighted with how green the middle is. I can't quite understand how it's so green when you think this has all been huge shrub right the way up there, but yeah, so I'm delighted. And you can see where I've made the cuts, so no nasty big stems sticking up. You see I've cut there, but then I've got 2 leaves covering the cut, so it is a bit time consuming but well worth it. Obviously I've got a bit of stick sticking up in the middle, but all being said, I think that's really excellent. And then when we come around the back now, so this is the youngest shrub. Now when I dig that one out, I was going to say it might be, this mother shrub might be a bit bare at the back, but actually when you look in, it's still got nice greenery there. And I had surrounded it with amimajors, so I've just lain them in and they will sort of all flower in amongst the foliage there. This is another one. Yes, so now when I come into the garden, I can see right over the top into the woodland garden. See my lupins and my peonies there at the back. This is a huge helenium that'll be growing. I've got asters, amimajors. There's an ice plant down there. And then, I'll just stand on the foliage here. From this direction, looks so much better. I'm actually filming sort of right into the sun here. It's not the best time of the day. So yes, and now if we look at this shrub, this is the last one. I'm just going to do this. So I'll just speed all this footage up. So that's it for well, for this video. The rest of the video I'm just going to be pruning that Weigela back. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been helpful and that it's given you the confidence to go out and tackle your shrub in your garden. I'm delighted with this, really delighted. I think it looks great. That just one more thing, there is a way of opening some more garden space up for yourself underneath this shrub by what we call raising the canopy, and that would be where you get under the shrub and you take out all the lowest growing branches up the central stem, and it makes it look a bit like a sort of mushroom effect, and that can look really pretty. So as always, thank you so much for visiting the channel and visiting my garden. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.